What's going on? My name is Joseph Boster Jr., founder and president of Retention Frontiers Incorporated. I'm back for another week of inspirational talk, inspirational speech. I hope this week I leave you with another message, something that you'll be able to take away and have for the week. So this week was a big week for the organization. We had a presentation at the Greater Lawrence Technical School where we were invited and fortunate to go out and speak to the young people. They're being inducted in the National Honor Society, a step in the right direction. This school had a motto of demanding, achieving, and expecting more. That was their mission. You know, they believed in, having some type of demand, some type of achievement, some type of expectation. So I went back home, I started taking some notes for my personal reasons. And I said, are we meeting the demands? Are we meeting those expectations? Are we helping these young people out here achieve things that they need to achieve? So we went on and we did a little inspiration talk. You can YouTube it. It's called Demand, Achieve, and Expect More. So go out and YouTube that to get an idea of what we talked about at that presentation. Then we went on into the weekend. We was fortunate to go out. We had a presentation for the Moore Jazz. It's for the Morehouse Alumni Association. We were talking about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I don't know whether you know it or not, but in 2009, they invested over $4 million into the investment of STEM studies and STEM being implemented in school programs. So we was fortunate to just be a part of the presentations for that weekend, and we talked about the power of STEM, being able to take a process and use it for projects and life examples or projects that you're dealing with in your work or school each day. So this week what we're going to talk about is continual improvement. And what do I mean by that? Continual mean is it's ongoing. It never stops, So you got to always be having that drive where you don't want to stop, you don't want to quit. And what I mean by improvement, you got to always want to continue to want to go up above the rest. You want to continue to transcend and not stop at your current state where you are now. You don't want to ever get comfortable. You don't want to ever get to a point where you feel like you want to just give up and you want to stop improving. So, what I want you to do is think about how can you continue to improve things in your life or things or situations that you're dealing with. So I go to my next point. It was a movie, Friday Night Lights. I tweeted it this weekend, said it was the movie of the weekend. Friday Night Lights, it was a guy in the movie called Boobie Miles. Boobie Miles felt like he was the greatest athlete ever. He didn't want to do no training. He didn't want to lift no weights. He felt as if, hey, this is God-given. That's what he said. This is God-given talent. I don't need to continuously improve and train and do all those different things. So before I jump into that, let me say this. Adversity, right? Last week we talked about the pursuit of happiness. Adversity is something that causes most people or most men to break, whereas it causes other people to break records. Last week I said, Oprah said this, there's no strength without struggle. Okay, I want to say that again. There's no strength without struggle. So you got to have a little bit of adversity in your life. You got to have a little bit of trials and tribulations in your life because it's only going to make you stronger. So I get back to the Friday Night Lights story. He said this is God-given. It's a great soccer player by the name of Michael Owen. He says this. He says, if you only give 90% of training when it's time to train, when it counts the most, you'll only give 90% when it counts. Let me say that again. If you only give 90% of training when you're training, you're only going to give 90% when it matters the most. Boobie Miles only gave 90%, and that's why he got hurt in the movie. Go blockbuster that movie, go rent it from the movie store. But what ended up happening is he didn't train, he didn't lift weights, he just went out there on the field and played. And it was one play that ended his whole football career. Do you hear me? So you can't rely on one thing. You can't rely on this one thing to be the best thing for your career or for you as an individual. You got to have multiple sources of things that you can rely on as an individual. Don't be like Boobie Miles. Don't say it's God-given and you don't feel like you have to work or train. Okay? I'll leave you with this story. in 1947 was a young man by the name of Jackie Robinson. He went and joined the Brooklyn Dodgers at a point in time. Let me give you the history of this. It was 8 years before the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. It was 16 years before the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Do you hear me? So he stepped on the field with Brooklyn Dodgers, and he felt as if, hey, I wanted to make an example to the people all around me, the tens of thousands of people that are watching me in the stands. So when he went out there, his whole mentality was, he had a favorite saying. He said, listen, he said, at the end of the day, a life is not important except the impact that it makes on other lives. Do you hear me? He said a life is not important except the impact that it makes on other lives. So if you're not out there making an impact on somebody else's life or within your own life, what is the use of you being around, right? So you have to add things and continue to improve your own life so you can impact others. That's what Jackie Robinson did on a daily basis. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. Go blockbuster this movie this weekend. It's called Jackie Robinson, the story of it. And I want to hear about it. And let me know what you think. Look me up on Twitter. Look me up on YouTube. We're out of here.